Okay, so here we are at the Art of Bloxwich, the High Street. Some people refer to it as the village, but to a lot of people it's a proper town. My name is Martin Morris and I'm the founder of Facebook page Bloxwich Old and New. I've been asked by Richard Clark, the director of One Love Community Music and Art, to help capture the story of Bloxwich since the Second World War before it's lost forever. And what better way to capture that story than through the memories of the folk who actually live in Bloxwich and the town that they love and remember. Anyway, here we are at Expressions Coffee Shop, an independent local community hub. Former Barclays Bank. It was a local landmark for many years before its closure. Having fallen empty for many years, its transformation by One Love Community Music and Arts CIC into a local coffee shop now provides an ideal base for people to meet, share stories and memories. It can tackle issues such as social isolation, loneliness, anxiety, depression and other factors that may lead to poor mental health.
I lived in Church Street and it was a two up and two down house. We shared the toilet with our neighbours and there was four people in the row, but there was two houses to one toilet, so there were two toilets on the yard. So I remember during the war that the neighbours, the wives and their children used to come into our house because my mum was an older mother and their husbands were away doing war jobs. And I can remember we used to either sit under the table or on the cellar steps. Well, I started at Elmer Green School, and when they were building the Dudley's Fields estate, because it was quite a village really before they started doing all the estates, when they started building Dudley's Field, we were transferred from Elmer Green Infants and Junior to Leamore. You used to call it the board school because it was the, that was what they've known them as the Walsall, the Leamore Board School. When we were there, we actually it was a lot more handicraft things going on. We made dresses by hand in the top class there. And I passed the 11 plus and went to Queen Mary's afterwards till I was 16.
When I was about 2, 3, we would come to Sandbank. We lived on the 5th floor, number 23. I always remember that. And then from Sandbank we moved to Dudley Fields in Morby Road, and that's where I had my childhood. That was where I moved from there to get married. Yeah, I went to Elmore Green. I still can remember fond memories of that, and Mrs. Hewitt. And then from Elmore Green, we went to Frank Farrison. But from Elmore Green as well, I can always remember going swimming, and it was by King George's. There was a little swimming baths, and we used to go once a week there to go swimming. But that's been knocked down now, and then it was the big baths, and that's been took away now from Bloxwich. So then, like I say, I went to Frank Farrison, which is now Bloxwich Morris Academy.
My earliest memories was during the war, pulling the black blinds down at night with the blackout. And I remember saying to my dad one night, we haven't pulled the blinds down. And he said, we don't need them anymore, the war is finished. The other early memory I remember is the man coming round at night lighting the gas lamp outside of our house on the corner of the street. Yes, I started school in 1946 at the Bloxwich Church of England, which is called the National School. I finished at Elmer Green High School on Elmer Green Row. When I was 16, I left there in 1957.
Well, I met Jack on holiday at Rill, and then we was going out together for a few years and got engaged after 2 years, and then we got married when I was 19. So, and then that's how I come to live over Bloxwich. Well, my early memories was I thought it was very quiet. You know, there didn't seem a lot of people like there is now, you know, and we sort of, I liked it here. I wouldn't go back to Birmingham for a pension. I wouldn't.
I moved into, I was born in Essington, and I moved into Blakeney with my auntie, with my mum, during the war. We was there all through the war. Then we moved to Dudley Fields, and we had a house on there, which I still own actually, on Dudley Fields, so I'm still resident. And that was we were one of the first people to move on to Dudley Fields. When we moved there were no houses at all. There was just some prefabs. And we had a prefab, and they were still bringing them in on lorries. So I lived there since immediately after the war. And that's where we lived, yeah, prefab, in Conway Road, and then I moved over the way into Chase Road, and I still got the house there now.
In Bloxwich itself, 27 years.
Out of 73, we lived in Coalpool for 24 years, so we've been in Bloxwich the bulk of the time.
I mean, it's in this area we've been more or less lifetime, really. As a child, you know, you used to look forward to the Bloxwich Wake, which was the fair. Pat Collins is where the Astor is. He used to be there, and I used to love going there, you know. And,
it was a busy little town.
Yeah.
And everybody shopped every day. They didn't do one weekly shop. And you'd got a shop, a butcher's, a grocer's, greengrocer's. Everything was, you had to go in different shops for everything. And as a child, my mum used to send us up to do the shopping, which was the norm.
Yeah. Because then no supermarkets, you just did your shop every day, like, really.
I can always remember when we used to go to Sandbank Nursery, the first thing we done was hang up your coat, put your apron on, go to the toilet and wash your hands. Well, just playing, really. But when it come to sleep, they could never get me to sleep because I never wanted to lie down. I just wanted to play. After the Sandbank, I went to Elmer Green School. From Elmer Green School, we moved out to Bloxwich in 51, I think, because I'm 19. And I mean, there was 15 of we in a 3-bedroomed house in Bloxwich. So we moved down to Shakespeare.
Well, I was 19 when I came here, or 18. And it was just a little village then. Like, you know, it was stacks of little shops, and it was nice. Lots of pubs. Yeah, there was. But it was. I got married in '63, so.
Yes, I met my husband when I was almost 18, and we used to be Bloxwich baths used to be covered over with a floor in winter, and that met him at a dance. But I started to go to the dances when I was about 17ish, so but we hadn't got much time to go out in the week because of night school. So I used to belong to a history group at one time, and I also joined the Co-op Women's Guild because my mother-in-law was in that, and so she said, this was when I was quite young, well, in my 20s. She said women should have a night out as well, because I wasn't obviously going to night school. But so I went with my mother-in-law to the Co-op Women's Guild. That had been going since 1883, and it was a sort of campaign in sort of women's equality in wages and things like that, and also they campaigned for pensions in the in the early 1900s, and they campaigned for the milk and also all sorts of welfare service. Well, it's a lot bigger because Beechdale wasn't built when I was young, and obviously even the Blakenall, Chantry Avenues and all those avenues had only were quite new when I was born, from what my older brothers and sisters said, and Little Bloxwich School, all that estate wasn't there. There was prefabs on the pinfold when I was young. They'd been built with the help of the German prisoners of war, I believe. And I think they did work on the roads as well, the German prisoners of war. I don't know anything about that because I was too young to know, but I mean, I know that it was, I believe that was what it was. And Mossley wasn't built either. That was started when I was about 14-ish, I think, all that estate down there. So it was really a village with all countryside. We used to, go off and play all in the streets. And I mean, when I was young, it was still the horse and cart for the coal, the greengroceries. There was bakers, milkman, and there was also a lady came round selling salt, because we used to have salt in blocks.
Well, there was a cinema in Bloxwich. Occasionally we got there with my parents, and I joined the Wolf Club. Then a little bit later, the youth clubs. I went to the youth clubs and I played football for the local teams, and that basically was it, I think, in those days. Also, of course, there's a canal that goes through Bloxwich. I think it's called the Essington and Worley Canal, but basically that's one of the flattest canals in the country. There was only one set of locks in Bloxwich, and it's quite interesting to walk all the way around that, although it takes a long while all the way around Walsall, but I've done all parts of that in my time, and that's quite interesting because it went through farmlands. And basically the canal, I think, was for the transportation of coal from Cannock. There was also a club, Bloxwich Lock Club, but that's closed now. Bloxwich Lock and Stamping Company. I went there as a child with my parents in the late 1940s. It was a working man's club, and they had what they used to. It was typical old-fashioned working man's club with the different turns, as they call them. And it was good, yeah, it was good entertainment in those days. Yeah. Because in those days we still only had gas lights on the high street. Lights. Well, I think from memory the first electric lights were on Wolverhampton Road around about 1951, because I'd be about 10 or 11 and we started playing football at night in the winter under the lights. So we thought, that was really good.
Well, when I left school, I went in to pattern making. I was a metal pattern maker, and my first job was in Walsall at a place called Sydenham and Macustra. Just a few months, and then I went to Castings Limited, where I started an apprenticeship. So I did my apprenticeship as a pattern maker, and I went to Wednesbury College, Technical College, to get my City of Guilds. Then I went in the Army, National Serviceman. I went in the Army at 19. I actually packed up my apprenticeship so as I could go in the Army first. I wanted to get that out of the way, you see. Just the teenage years were really good because we had friends from school and whatever. And like I say, we used to dance Saturday night. It was a 1, 2, 3 together, learning to dance with the girls. And it was a nice time. Really nice time, and there's the Co-op funeral place up top of the High Street. there's a hall at the top of there, and they used to have a dance on a Friday night occasionally. And I remember going there, and Butterfly by Guy Mitchell was played, and that brings back memories every time I hear that. But yeah, it was a lovely time, a nice place in my teenage years.
Well, you've got Bloxwich baths. So in the winter, they used to put the floor down, and it became a dance.
Dance or
You had live groups then,
Saturday night, you know.
which is where I met Tony, and that was lovely. I was in a choir as well. I was in the Bloxwich Church choir, and then I joined an opera society on the Pinfold. It was a big old church. We used to sing there. But really, the pictures, you've got the picture houses, you'd see us all queuing there on a Saturday for the
Saturday
matinee.
morning, well, Saturday morning was down Lilymore at the Rossum, and Saturday afternoon was the Odeon.
The Odeon, yeah.
The Odeon, and the matinee for the kids, you know.
And they used to let you get on the stage, and then my sisters used to go on and sing, and they'd give you a photo of a film star. Highlight of our week.
Just come up and have a walk around, you know, and look in the shops and
You'd
stuff.
entertain yourself, really. But there was the youth clubs. I mean, I used to go to Mossley Youth Club, and that was all through the week if you wanted to go. And you'd meet your school mates there, like.
And then there was when they had the Bloxwich Carnival, obviously, you'd come to that. That was a good day then, because they used to have the procession, quite a big procession, with a traction and pulling the Queen's float. And they used to finish up on King George's playing fields, where there was a lot going on then. It was a good day, that was, wasn't it?
And when you went to the wake, the fair afterwards, they called it the wake. It wasn't like the fun fairs now. There was like the strongest man and
Side shows, you know.
and the cycle that goes round and round. And they used to come out of the tents, and because you'd got to pay to go and see them, and that's the only way we could see them, because it was like a penny to go in and see them. But it was fascinating, and everybody used to go to that because Pat Collins lived in Bloxwich. So it was a happy childhood, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all right.
Well, I got my first home, which I'm still in Revival Street. I've got 2 children there. And when I moved in, they just finished building the Spiritualist Church on the Green, which had terrace houses on originally. And Sam Wiggin had a factory which did stainless steel products. My brother worked there. And then it's been turned into a bowling alley now. It's been a taxi place, a bowling alley. But Sam Wiggin was, I believe, mayor of Walsall at that time, when he had, and his Spiritualist Church began. I don't know the name of the street where most people come from, the High Street.
Wolverhampton Road.
Is it Wolverhampton Road? Wolverhampton Road. It was over a garage. They had their first spiritual meetings up over the garage. Then he had the Spiritualist Church there built, which is still there and still going. At that time it was a Bloxwich Christian Spiritualist Church, which is now an S&U church, which isn't really a Christian church as it is originally meant to be. I think Asda had just been built at that time. The fire station was there, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Asda was built,
Yeah,
and the fire station was still there. My landlady sold my bungalow whilst I was away.
She just lost her husband.
I'd lost my husband in 4th of November 2015. And she came a few days after and said, you've got to be out by December the 23rd. But then she changed her mind and said, you can stay as long as you like, but your rent's going up. But I went away for my 75th birthday and came back. She found me, oh, I've sold your bungalow. So I moved in with my daughter-in-law at Burnswood. And then I managed to get this house in Revival Street. And I saw her because I used to go up to the men with my friend Mary. And I seen her and her daughter as I was walking up the one day to have a look at it. And I looked at her and I said, I know, Dad, you used to go to the mem? And she said, yes. I said, no, you. And now she said, I live at number 81. Pop in and have a cup of tea. It was the worst decision I ever made. And that's how we've met. And we are true friends, because I can say, we have arguments and he knows we do. And I walk off and tell her, don't come down my house because the door will be locked when you come down with. But she knows. So we're true friends, and that's how we met in 219. And we're still friends today. And we'll always be friends, even though we argue. But she's golden. She's got a heart of gold. I sometimes wish I was like Vina, because she's very forgiving. I take my time over things. She's very forgiving. She always tries to see the best in people. I try to see the best in people, but sometimes it's a bit hard for it. So she's got some good qualities that I wish I had. And I mean, I pray every night. I'm trying to be a good Christian, Lord, but it's hard at times. And I just say, please help me, let me accept the things I cannot change. Because I'm a Christian. I go to church every Sunday. I'm not a Bible puncher, but I do believe in.
Yeah. They're quite friendly in Bloxwich. I find people very friendly, yeah. Yeah, you get some that'll push you over to get on the bus. Like a little old lady. They did push me over. I was in the front of the bus queue. It's been some years now. And she came out of the blue and the bus had pulled up and I just, boom! I was down. And I said, excuse me. She says, I'm a pensioner. And I was 65 at the time. And she said to me, I said, and how old are you? I said, I'm 61. I said, bugger off. I'm on the board. But you know, honest to God, I am ashamed to be a pensioner. Because some pensioners are really nasty. They'd cut your throat for a sandwich. Like when we've had these things in the market square where you've had cakes for the town hall people that's coming round, and the old women have got the bag and shoveled them in and run. And they have. Some of them are really, you're ashamed to be a pensioner, yeah. But I don't remember as much. I can't remember what date it is sometimes, tell you the truth. And now, the children went to the dancing at it's still the same place, by the church in, there, and I remember Asda being built. How long has that been up? 60 years now? It's got to have been almost 60 years, I bet. Yeah, well, it was. I remember it being built, and I remember the first time I went in, because I got a young baby, he used to buy the jars of food, and we'd have a trolley, and we'd fill the trolleys to the brim, £8. I'll always remember that. I never forgot it. £8 for a trolley of food. Yeah.
My first job was because I came out of school with no qualifications. Because at that time, dyslexia wasn't recognised, and so I was probably one of the cheekiest in school, and caused a lot of mischief. I came out with cooking and art, and I wanted to go to the college, but at that time you had to, we needed money, so I worked in a factory at Shannon's for many years. I think it was up to, I was about 21. I started Shannon's at 15, and that was in George Street in Walsall. That was for tailoring, men's jackets. It's renowned in Walsall, Shannon's was, for the tailoring and making of suits. And then I had my children, and then after my children, like I found college, and then I've been to uni since. So like as time's gone on, like my education, and I've got a really good job working within the community now.
It's the heart of the area. To be honest, you've got Mossley, Dudley Fields, Lower Farm, Blakenall, all surrounding Bloxwich. So it's the heart of it really. And it's similar to Pelsall, who've got their village. They still call it Pelsall Village, you know, and it's in the centre of all the estates round it. And that's what Bloxwich is. And I don't think it's lost its heart, but it needs some regeneration to try and bring it back up. And like with the shops closing down, it's sad.
Personality, down to earth, I would say.
Yeah, down to earth, caring. And you think about other people. I don't know whether that happens so much today, but it's important.
As I say, it's quite, people are quite, what's the name, you know, and we've got some shops, but we could do with some better shops, if you know what I mean. Like everywhere else, there's no closed shops or decent, you know. Yeah. But no, I like Bloxwich. I do like Bloxwich.
I think Bloxwich, like we say, Bloxwich birds, I think it's like, for myself and the people that I know from how we've grown up, is like we are very resilient. I think we're very caring, very kind, and I think we're always there for everybody. I think that's how we are. But we're fiery as well, I think. I think we don't stand no messing either. I think it's because it's like a small community. I think Bloxwich is special because it's a small community. And I think with the outer area, like, you know, the out, like Mossley, Blakenall, Lower Farm, Leamore, they all come to here. It's their like centre, it's their centre town. And I think it's, I just think it's the people within Bloxwich. That's why it makes it special. I still think we need to invest in Bloxwich now. I think it's come to a time where to make it, put it back on the map, is to, people need to invest in Bloxwich, but not lose the character. Because I think we've lost a lot of character within Bloxwich. I ain't saying that we've got to not move forward, because that's what life is, and you have to move forward. But I think you need to keep some of the history within Bloxwich, and I don't think we should lose it either. I think it should be put down, and you know, with this project, I think it's the best thing that could have happened, because it's learnt me a lot. You know, talking to my mum and my dad about the buses that come down, you know, on the tracks, and my dad worked on there. My mum worked at Crabtrees. So yeah, I think it's. I think it needs some TLC at the moment, but I think the people will be happy for all that as well.
Well, I had the opportunity to move on 2 occasions with a promotion with insurance years ago, but when I had a look at the 2 places, one was at the seaside, I couldn't leave Bloxwich. We've got one of the oldest cricket clubs in the country. There's a nice park. The people are nice. There used to be 4 farms, but most of it now has been built up into housing estates. But I just could never leave Bloxwich. I like the place and I like the people. Well, Bloxwich is built on a hill. Whichever way you go out of Bloxwich, you're going downhill. West to Wolverhampton, east towards Leicester. If you go south, you're going towards Birmingham, and north towards Cannock. You know, that's so it does stand out a little bit. But there are lots of people that have left Bloxwich and come back to live here.
Yeah.
I can name quite a few, really. You know, where they've gone with a job or one thing or another, and they've decided to come back home.
It's because we didn't. Hardly anybody had got anything. We'd hardly got anything. I mean, we used to have an apple, orange, a few nuts, a couple of new pennies, and one toy. That's all my dad could afford for we. They was good Christmases. Okay, we hardly ever had cooked meals, but every Sunday we used to have a high tea, as they call it, the big cake, blancmange, jelly. My dad always made sure, and we used to have a big round table in the front room. We'd all sit round there, and my mum and dad would be sitting on their chairs. And if anybody had died, they'd all click together to fetch something.
Friendly, and I've always found people helpful. I've had good neighbours, so you know they're very helpful. And I think a lot of people know each other, and you very often talk to people who you've just acquainted on the bus and all that. So I find them very easygoing personally. But I perhaps haven't met any that were. I mean, I haven't. Well, I do. You do meet some that are, but I mean, I'm not an argumentative person. Not generally. I feel at home, you know. And as I say, because it is a friendly place, and my children think I look through rose-coloured spectacles, but I think, well, they've moved away. They don't realise how much it means to know quite a few people who you're living around, and enjoy where I am.
Okay, so I'm Richard Clark. I'm the director of One Love Community Music and Arts.
And I'm Steve Howell, one of the coordinators of We Are Bloxwich.
And I'm Shani Clark, also a coordinator of the project.
Well, I think what we have found during the filming, it's been a lot of fun, but there are so many different layers to the stories that are out there for Bloxwich, and the personalities. The experiences that we've picked up from American tanks going down the high street to the development of the local estates, the Mossley, the Beechdale, and the friendliness, I think, of the people, the have-a-go spirit, the really we love Bloxwich mentality. I don't know if any of you felt any different.
I found that Bloxwich people really see Bloxwich as a town in itself. They don't see themselves really as part of Walsall, and they just love being just part of Bloxwich. And I found that their spirit is no nonsense, and they just love their team.
Well, as an outsider, originally from Birmingham, my first contact with Bloxwich was in the mid-1980s. And ever since that time, I've always felt that Bloxwich people are different, they are individual, and I've worked in all different parts of Walsall. But I've always had the feeling that there's a spirit in Bloxwich that is very individual, different from other areas of the town.
So, from my point of view, what we've covered in We Are Bloxwich has really unearthed a long story. There are layers, not just the history from 1939 but for different cultures that are here, for Roman gypsies, for Romany gypsies that have settled around the estate, the different cultural dimensions that have developed, certainly from 1986 onwards. There are a whole range of different things that really stand out in Bloxwich and make Bloxwich quite unique. So yeah, looking forward to doing more.
I came into Bloxwich in the late 70s, and I was made to feel very welcome right from the start. They very much stand there and they will say what they mean, which is great. But I found that the people were really warm and very supportive, and that's why I chose to do this project, because although I'm an outsider, I enjoy seeing and speaking to the people of Bloxwich.
Like many places, the town of Bloxwich has been shaped by its ancient history, by its industrial heritage, but most of all by the people who are its residents. A town's character is shaped over many hundreds of years, and I suspect that whilst change is inevitable, the Bloxwich character will remain a constant no matter what changes might come. Therefore I ask, what is the Bloxwich character to you?